Do not move. No, I am quite serious. Keep both of your hands where I can see them, and... You're not wearing a uniform, and you don't have any detectable weapons. What? Who are you? And what are you doing here? You may answer now. You came here to escape the storm. That is your explanation. You entered a restricted structure after nightfall without protective equipment because it is raining. Yes, I can hear the rain. That was not an invitation to become sarcastic. So how did you find this location? You were walking nearby. Why? I see. And did anyone see you enter? Are you certain? No companion either. Okay, I can work with that. So, do you have a communication device currently transmitting your location? Slowly remove it. 2 fingers only. Your communication device. The rectangular object in your pocket. Hold it away from your body. Do not press anything. Your species allows these devices to track you continuously. Never mind, that is not presently relevant. Turn it off and place it on the table to your right. Slowly. Thank you. Now, turn around. Slowly, please. Okay, that was slower than necessary, but I appreciate your cooperation. Remain still. Don't worry, this won't hurt. I'll just check with this device. Yeah, just as I suspected. You are human. Yes, I am very aware that this is Earth. I mean, you are an ordinary human. Biologically ordinary, as far as this device can determine. That was not an insult. Ordinary is favorable under the present circumstances. Ordinary is considerably less dangerous than the alternatives. You may lower your hands, but do not touch anything. Some of the specimens are sensitive or toxic. Do not look so frightened. Just stay where I can see you, and you'll be alright, human. What? Why are you staring at me? My ears. There's nothing unusual about my ears. Relative to me, they are perfectly proportioned. In fact, yours are, how do I put it, the ones that appear unusual. Really unusual. And small. Very small. How do they collect sufficient auditory information? The outer structure is so compact. And these folds. No, that is irrelevant. You were trespassing. Accidentally trespassing, perhaps, but the distinction does not improve the security problem you have created. Who am I? That is not information you require. No, I do not work here. Technically. Why are you smiling? No, that was not intended to sound suspicious. It was an accurate answer. This greenhouse is abandoned according to your municipal records. Therefore, no human currently works here. I merely make use of the available space. What kind of work? You ask a remarkable number of questions for someone who was being scanned for concealed weapons less than a minute ago. You're curious, yes, I had noticed. I guess most humans would be frightened. You're frightened. You're right. Your pulse is still elevated. Your shoulders are tense. And you have glanced at the exit 4 times since turning around. But you have not attempted to use it. That is interesting. Tell me something. If I permitted you to leave now, what would you do? Go home. That was not the part I was asking about. Would you tell anyone what you saw? You do not know what you saw. A surprisingly sensible answer. That is a very direct question. And you believe my ears provide sufficient evidence. And my antenna, which you are still looking at. Have you never been taught that staring is impolite, human? You think they are cute. Cute, that is not the word I would use. I mean, they are a highly efficient sensory structure. Their length improves directional hearing, atmospheric sensitivity, and nonverbal communication. And for the sake of accuracy, your ears are considerably more unusual than mine. Tiny, rounded, pressed almost entirely against the skull. How do you hear anything? Yes, obviously you can hear me. That does not explain how. Anyway, you still have not answered my question. Would you tell anyone about this place? You would not? Why? Because no one would believe you. That is probably true. Because I have not harmed you. Not yet, you mean? That was a joke. Calm down. No need to get so nervous. A poorly timed one, apparently. Very well. You have cooperated thus far, and attempting to maintain the deception is becoming inefficient. You were correct. I am not from this planet. Your reaction is considerably less dramatic than I anticipated. You had already guessed. Yes, apparently my appearance made subtlety impossible. I know I should have worn the covering. Damn it. Huh? My name. Right, I am sorry. Where are my manners? Seyra. Dr. Seyra. Formally. Though I do not imagine any of your academic institutions would recognize my qualifications. Close. The final sound is formed further back in the throat. Seyra. Better. You'll learn quickly. And before you ask, no, I did not arrive here by accident. My vessel did not malfunction. It was not abandoned by my crew, and I do not require assistance returning home. Your fictional stories demonstrate a rather concerning lack of confidence in extraterrestrial engineering. To make it short, I came to Earth deliberately because I am a xenoneurological researcher. I study the cognition and behavior of intelligent species whose neurological development differs significantly from my own. You are one of those species. Yes, humans. All of you. Not you specifically. At least, not until approximately 3 minutes ago. Well, Earth has been observed for some time. Your anatomy is documented. Your languages have been translated. Your social behavior has been partially documented. It changes with remarkable speed and appears to contradict itself whenever a reliable pattern is identified. Yes, that includes flirting. No, I was not flirting with you. I was examining your ears. Those were entirely separate activities. Moving on, my assignment is to collect biological and behavioral data without disrupting the local population. The structure serves as a temporary field station. The greenhouse was already abandoned. The surrounding vegetation provides effective visual concealment, and your authorities appear to have no interest in inspecting it or maintaining it. So most of my work can be completed remotely. But there is one aspect of human cognition that cannot be studied accurately, though, through distant observation. Sleep. More specifically, dreaming. No, I am not joking. Your species regularly enters a state of unconsciousness for several consecutive hours. You become almost entirely unresponsive to your surroundings. Your voluntary muscles disengage. Your perception of time becomes unreliable. And while this is occurring, your brain constructs images, voices, locations, memories, and events that do not physically exist. And then you wake up and behave as though this is an ordinary way to spend 1/3 of your life. It is not ordinary to me. My species does not sleep in the way humans do. You have to understand, we experience brief neurological rest periods, but we remain conscious throughout them. We do not lose awareness, and we do not dream. Yes, never. what does it feel like? I could ask you the same thing. How does it feel to surrender awareness of your own body? How do you know you will regain consciousness? How does your mind produce an entire world full of illogical things without your permission? And why do some of those worlds remain in your memory while others disappear within seconds? You see, now you're curious too. That is the difficulty. Dreams cannot be reliably observed from the outside. Neural activity reveals only fragments. Emotions, sensory stimulation, memory activation, but it does not explain what the dreamer actually experiences. For that, I require direct testimony. Before sleep, during monitored rest, and immediately after waking up. Ideally, from the same subject over an extended period. Nothing. It's just... I have attempted to locate a suitable participant. I've been distributing flyers at night, inviting to a psychological study, but it has proven more difficult than expected. Yes, I understand why. Now, the official recruitment process would also require me to disclose the location of this facility, the nature of my equipment, and several facts I would prefer remain undisclosed. So, the project has remained understaffed. The observation of human sleep is authorized. Direct contact with the human participant is not explicitly authorized. And that doesn't mean forbidden. I mean, you're learning my methods of interpretation remarkably quickly. So, if my superiors found out, nothing you need to worry about. Perhaps my research would be, reviewed and my lab inspected, my equipment confiscated. I would likely be recalled, and you would become the subject of an extensive security assessment. You would not enjoy it. They are less charming than I am. That was humor, not self-praise. Because you already know enough to become a problem. And because you do not seem eager to become one. I mean, you could have attempted to run or activated your device. Instead, you stayed and answered all my questions. And when you realized what I was, your first response was curiosity. And I understand curiosity really well. It has caused most of the significant complications in my life. But there may be a solution that benefits us both. I require a long-term human participant, and in return, I could help improve the quality of your sleep, monitor your health with technology far more precise than anything available to your physicians, and identify potential irregularities before they become serious. All without charge, of course, which, based on my research into your healthcare system, is apparently a significant advantage. And of course, you would have the benefit of my company. You do not encounter a cute extraterrestrial researcher every day, do you? I was merely presenting the offer in terms you had already established earlier on. After all, that was your description, was it not? Plus, you require an explanation for what you have discovered here, and presumably reassurance that I do not intend to dissect you. Which, for clarification, I do not. Your internal anatomy is already well documented. That was another poorly timed joke. But, message received. I will stop making those. Probably. Anyway, I'm not asking you to agree to anything yet. First, I would conduct a basic examination, non-invasive. Heart rate, respiration, sensory response, neurological compatibility, and I would explain every instrument before using it, and you could refuse any procedure. After that, I would describe the study in full, and then you could decide whether you want to participate. And if I refuse, then you leave when the storm passes. You tell no one what you saw, and I relocate this laboratory before you have an opportunity to reconsider. But I would really prefer not to do that. Moving the botanical specimens is extremely inconvenient. One of them bites. No, not the one beside you. So, you may stand here and continue asking questions, or you may come inside and allow me to provide you with something warm and hear my proposal properly. Do you trust me? No, of course not. You do not know me well enough for that. But I have given you my name, so for now that shall be sufficient. Let's go. Are you coming? Good. You should stay close. And do not touch anything unless I tell you it is safe. It might bite. Especially with those tiny ears of yours. Yes, I know ears are not generally used for touching things. I was attempting to tease you. But I assume that this may require practice. Good, first of all, thank you for participating, or at least giving it a try. We will begin with a basic examination. Again, nothing invasive. I only need to establish your normal readings before attempting anything related to sleep. Yeah, so the chair in front of you. Yeah, that one. It may look like an examination platform, but I assure you it is considerably more comfortable than the furniture used in your medical facilities. Sit down, yeah, and lean back. There. Try not to tense. It is adapting to the shape of your body, not attempting to restrain you. Is that comfortable? Good. I selected the cushioning myself. Now I need to attach several monitoring leads. They will measure your heart rate, pulse, respiration, temperature, and basic neurological activity. You may feel a slight cooling sensation where they touch your skin. Is that okay? Okay. Then, hold out your hand for me. Thank you. You're warm. No, not excessively. Your temperature is within expected range. I simply had not expected the difference to be so noticeable. My species maintains a slightly lower surface temperature, but human skin is pleasantly warm. From a diagnostic perspective, of course. Okay, so this one will measure your pulse and blood oxygen level. Not too tight, right? Good. Okay, next one. Okay. There is your heartbeat. A little fast. You're not still frightened of me, are you? No. Then perhaps the elevated rate has another explanation. Do not worry, I will allow you to keep that explanation private. Okay, now another sensor. Yeah, I need your wrists for that one. Turn your hand. Okay. Your skin is still slightly cool at the extremities, but not as cold as I expected. I am glad you reached the greenhouse before the storm worsened. Yeah, I mean, considering that the rainfall has nearly doubled since you arrived. A few more minutes outside and you would have been thoroughly soaked. Yes, your clothing is damp, but not enough to lower your core temperature significantly. You were fortunate. Or perhaps I was. It would have been inconvenient to begin my first human trial by treating hypothermia. That is what I meant. Okay. I am going to place the next sensor near your collarbone. May I? Thank you. You may move the fabric aside slightly, just enough for the sensor to make contact with your skin. Yes, like that. Hold still. There. Warm here as well. The adhesive has not caught any hair, has it? Good. I prefer not to cause discomfort during our first session. It may discourage you from returning. Okay. I will place one more on the opposite side. This one may feel slightly cold, but it'll be helpful in assessing your activity. There we go. Oh, your heartbeat increased again. Was the sensor uncomfortable? No. Then you continue to produce very interesting readings. Okay, let's see. Baseline cardiac rhythm stable. Mild elevation consistent with recent physical exertion, environmental stress, and possible social stimulation. What? That is a legitimate clinical category. I did not invent it to tease you. Though I am beginning to understand the appeal of it. Now, breathe normally for me, please. I want to observe your natural rhythm. Good. Slow and steady. In and out. You recover from stress quickly. That will be useful. Yeah. Oh, let me move this. The cable is a bit close to your neck. Let's see. Is it better? Good. You're very sensitive to touch. I can see it in the monitor, you know. Your pulse changes before your expression does. You may wish to remember that when attempting to conceal something from a neurologist. Okay. Everything appears healthy so far. No cardiac irregularities, no concerning temperature changes. Respiration is also within normal human parameters. You see, you're already receiving a medical examination that would probably cost an unreasonable amount of money elsewhere. So, yes, you may thank me later. Preferably by continuing to cooperate. But for now, just relax. Yeah. The chair will support your head if you lean back. There, see? That looks much more comfortable. And now that you're no longer standing in the middle of my greenhouse looking like a frightened intruder, I can admit that I am pleased you found your way here. Scientifically pleased. Although now that you're reclined at an appropriate examination angle and no longer trying to decide whether I am going to vaporize you, I can observe several details I was forced to ignore earlier for the sake of maintaining authority. No, you do not have to become nervous again. I said details, not dangers. Interesting. Your posture has changed. Yeah, your shoulders have lowered by approximately 8 millimeters. Your hands have unclenched, and your breathing is beginning to synchronize with the rhythm of the monitor, which is either an unconscious self-soothing behavior or evidence that humans can be trained by repetitive beeping noises. But I assume that your baseline comfort response has been recorded and that you show improved compliance when seated, warm, and no longer dripping rainwater onto sensitive equipment. Yes, I know you weren't dripping very much, although it is still a threat to the instruments. Anyway, tilt your head slightly for me. Toward me. Good. There they are again. Your ears. Do not look so surprised. I told you before that I was going to conduct a basic examination, and your auditory structures are part of your basic anatomy. In fact, given the entire purpose of this project, they may be more important than I initially assumed, which is irritating because I had already organized my examination sequence, and now your tiny, tiny ears are forcing me to revise it. They really are very small. Not defective, just condensed. That was not an insult. A condensed thing may still be very elegant. Stars collapse into extremely dense forms and become gravitationally significant. Your ears may be similar, though obviously less cosmic and far easier to poke. That was a joke. You felt that. Of course you felt that. I touched you. That is what touch means. I was thinking aloud and my hand completed the investigation before I asked for your consent. I apologize. Among my people, external sensory structures are not considered private unless they are actively signaling distress, and yours do not signal anything visibly except this charming little flush along the outer edge, which I am beginning to suspect is not part of the ear's normal resting coloration. No, don't hide it. I mean, you may if you want to, obviously, but I would prefer to observe it. Let me correct the procedure. May I examine your ears? Only the outside. No instruments inside the auditory canal. No pain, no sharp objects, no harvesting anything. Despite your species' very persistent fear that every alien with a medical device is one poor decision away from collecting samples. So, do you consent? Yeah, thank you. I am going to start with the ear closest to me, and I will describe everything as I do it, because you seemed calmer when I explained the monitoring leads, and because your pulse raises whenever there is anticipation without information. I could pretend not to notice that, but the monitor is very loud, and also I enjoy being correct. So, hold still. Humans cover themselves in so many loose textures. Is it like your species? I don't know. Okay. There we go. Now I can see the full outer structure. The upper rim is soft, but it holds shape under almost no pressure. See? A very light press here. There, the monitor changed. And again here. Another response. That is extraordinary. I am applying less force than I would use to test the surface tension of a seat membrane, and your nervous system is reacting as though I have delivered meaningful sensory input. How do humans survive with so many alarms attached to such small pieces of skin? No, not alarms, that was imprecise. Signals. Your body is full of little signals. This curve, this one here, it catches sound, yes, but the tactile sensitivity is far greater than necessary for hearing alone, unless the sensitivity is not accidental, unless the contact itself has some social purpose. Do humans touch each other's ears often? Not usually. That is disappointing. For research. Obviously for research. Subject reports ear contact is uncommon in ordinary social interaction, despite pronounced sensory response. Possible explanation, intimacy, boundary. Possible alternate explanation, humans are inefficient and neglect obvious calming mechanisms due to social embarrassment. What? Embarrassment. Right, I'm sorry. I'm not good at the human language, so please excuse me for any slip-ups. Anyway, as I was saying, possible alternate explanation, humans are inefficient and neglect obvious calming mechanisms due to social embarrassment. Do not give me that look. I am allowed to criticize your species. I have spent 6 months watching humans refuse sleep while complaining that they are tired. Anyway, I'm going to test pressure now. Very gentle pressure. If you dislike it, say stop. Remove your hand or produce whatever sound humans make when they are offended. Ready? Okay. Soft breath. Release. Again. The tissue rebounds immediately. Good elasticity. Warm surface temperature. Slight increase in pulse. But respiration continues to slow. Which means either this is relaxing, or you are very committed to confusing me. Is it relaxing? It is. Interesting. When I touch here and speak at this distance, your body appears to interpret it as safe, personal attention. Huh. That may be important. My original theory concerned dreams as emotional regulation, but perhaps transition into sleep requires more than neurological exhaustion. Perhaps humans do not simply shut down when tired. Perhaps you need the body to be convinced that the world will not harm you while your awareness is absent. The idea is not unreasonable. Let me compare again. Okay, let's examine this ear a bit more. It is almost the same as the other, but not perfectly. The upper fold sits at a slightly different angle, and this ridge here. Again, I did it again. I am sorry. You do not mind. That is generous of you. Still, I should ask. I will ask. May I continue touching this ear? Thank you. And I will continue, but slower. Here. Does that feel different from the other side? A little. Good. Your subjective report matches the sensor data. This side produces a slightly stronger response, especially when the contact is behind the ear rather than on the outer rim. Behind the ear may be more sensitive. Let me test. Here. Yeah, definitely here. Your heartbeat agrees with you. There's something very endearing about a body that tells the truth before you decide whether you want to or not. Among my people, emotional signals are more regulated. We can conceal changes in pulse, body temperature, even scent chemistry with training, but you sit there trying to appear calm while every instrument in the room politely informs me that you are not. No, I'm not using the data against you, silly. I am simply appreciating its transparency. Anyway, I shall continue. 1, 2, 3. Oh, your eyes are getting heavier. I can see that. Not asleep yet, but closer than before. This is faster than expected. I have not administered any sedative. I haven't adjusted the room temperature, altered the oxygen mixture, or used neural induction. I am merely touching the area around your tiny ear and speaking softly, and your body is beginning to prepare for unconsciousness. That is absurd. Beautiful, perhaps, but absurd. I would like to use this instrument now. You may inspect it if you like. It is not a needle. Humans always look for the needle. This is a tactile resonance probe. It is designed to detect surface-level nerve response without causing discomfort. I normally use it on botanical specimens with reactive membranes, so compared to them, you are quite sturdy. I was trying to reassure you, if that was not clear. But look, it has a very soft and fluffy tip. Do not deny it. And this sound. Your respiration slowed again. What is happening? Is it the rhythm? The closeness? The expectation that the sound is for you? Because you respond differently when the same sound comes from across the room. Earlier, when I placed the sensor tray on the table, you noticed it, but you did not react this way. Now, when I make the sound beside your ear, your body treats it almost like grooming. Do humans groom each other? Not in those words. Of course not. You reserve accurate words for animals and then pretend humans do not do the same things with different vocabulary. Tap, 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 tap. What? You listen to what? Say that again. ASMR. ASMR. That is not a word, human. That is a collection of stranded letters. What does it mean? Autonomous sensory meridian response. Autonomous sensory meridian response. Autonomous is acceptable, assuming the response occurs without direct voluntary control. Sensory is obvious, though not specific enough. Meridian is questionable. You do not know. Of course you do not know. No, I am not criticizing you specifically. I am criticizing your entire civilization. Let me note that down. Subject reports familiarity with phenomenon known as ASMR, Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, described by humans as a pleasant tingling or calming sensation triggered by specific auditory, visual, or interpersonal stimuli. Wait, triggered by what exactly? Soft voices, whispering, close attention, personal examination, tapping, brushing, all of those. All of those. Do not look at my antenna. They are reacting to... Hey, they are not brighter. And if they were brighter, it would be an electrical response to atmospheric instability, not excitement. Anyway, continue explaining. Please. Okay. Mm-hmm. So humans intentionally create recordings of close sounds, soft speech, and simulated personal attention in order to relax, fall asleep, or experience these tingles? Tingles. Huh. That is a very small word for a very large nervous system event. And you listen to these recordings voluntarily before sleep. Often? Oh, that is not minor at all. This sound. Sometimes. Tap, tap, tap. And this proximity. A voice. Close to one ear, maybe. Tap. Tap, 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 tap. Interesting. Then what I observed was not an isolated reaction to an unfamiliar examination. It may be a non-relaxation pathway, one your species has already discovered informally through media, habit, loneliness, insomnia, curiosity, and probably several thousands of poorly labeled internet categories. Yes, human, I know about your internet. And no, I will not tell you how much I know about your internet. That would make this examination less comfortable for both of us. So, when I examined your ear before, and your respiration slowed, you recognized the sensation. You know what it was, right? Right. Why did you not tell me? Because you were distracted by the alien scientist poking your ear. That's fair enough. And because it felt nice. Your heart rate changed again. It was a hypothesis. A correct one, apparently. Subject identifies current auditory and tactile examination as similar to human relaxation media known as ASMR. Subject reports the sensation is pleasant, calming, and potentially sleep supportive. This may be the bridge. No, not a literal bridge. I have learned that humans use that word metaphorically. I mean, it may connect waking consciousness to sleep onset. If ASMR reduces vigilance, and reduced vigilance permits the brain to enter sleep more easily, then controlled ASMR stimuli could influence not only how quickly you fall asleep, but the emotional tone of the dreams that follow. That means your ears are not merely auditory structures. They may be access points. Do not look alarmed. I'm not accessing anything. Not yet. I mean the phrase conceptually. I want to understand the sensation from your perspective. Tell me what it feels like. A pleasant shiver. Where? Scalp. Neck. Sometimes down the back. From sound and gentle attention. From a voice. From this. Here. There. Exactly as I thought. Exactly as I thought. That little contact near this tiny structure produces a sensation that can travel down your spine. That is inefficient. No, that is not the word. Unreasonable. Also not the word. Beautiful. Scientifically beautiful. Do not comment on my antenna. Okay, I need to test something. With your permission this time, before my hand does anything enthusiastic. May I continue? Thank you. I will use 3 common triggers based on your explanation. Soft speech, light tapping, and careful personal attention. If anything becomes uncomfortable, you'll tell me immediately. If it feels pleasant, you may also tell me. Although judging from your previous readings, your cardiovascular system will announce it before you do. Yes, I am teasing. Gently, first sound, tapping, slow, and regular. Close but not touching. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Your breathing is already responding. That is fascinating. Not because the sound is complex, but because it is simple. A repeated signal with no demand attached. Just tap, 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 tappity, tappity, tap. Interesting. Tap, 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 tap. I wonder, do the tingles begin with the sound itself, or with the expectation that the sound will continue? Both. Very inconvenient answer. Very human answer. Okay, second trigger. Whispering. I am going to speak beside your ear and you will observe the sensation without trying to intensify it. Apparently, according to your explanation, chasing the response may interrupt it, which is yet another example of humans losing a thing by attempting to control it too aggressively. Ready? Okay. You are safe. You are safe. The storm is outside. The storm is outside. The laboratory is warm. The laboratory is warm. The chair is supporting you. The monitors are steady. And I am only observing. There, your respiration decreased again. It works. It actually works. I do not know why that surprises me. I was already watching it happen, but naming it changes something. Before it was an anomaly, now it is a phenomenon. A strange one, but real. Okay. The third trigger, personal attention. For that, I will examine the upper curve of your ear again. Very gently. The outer rim first. Then the fold beneath it. Then behind the ear, where the response was the strongest. Then Tingles. Yeah. Good. No, silly. Not good because I caused them. Good because the report is consistent. Although, I am not opposed to having caused them. For research morale. Preliminary ASMR trial successful. Subject demonstrates measurable relaxation during close soft speech, rhythmic tapping, and light tactile examination of external ear structures. Potential use: pre-sleep stabilization before dream monitoring. Private addendum. The subject appears more comfortable when I explain what I am doing. Seyra and I said something else in my language. You would not understand it. No, I will not translate. Okay, so this ASMR will require additional study, many sessions probably, and repeated trials, controlled variables, different sounds, distances, different kinds of touch. And unfortunately for you, continued examination of these tiny, troublesome ears. You do not seem unfortunate. Very well. That is also data. Okay. Let's see now, my little subject. Perhaps now I should continue with this. Would that be okay with you. As I mentioned a moment ago, it is very soft and fluffy and won't hurt you. If I inserted it in your tiny little ears, what would I find? Yeah, I'll do it very lightly, very gently. Are you ready? Yeah, okay, good. And I'll start. Contact. Again. And just here. Tingled. Tingles. That is not a scientific word, but it is a good word. It is a good word indeed. Subject describes possible tingles during gentle ear stimulation. No, I'm not putting quotation marks around it because I disapprove. I am putting quotation marks around it because it is your word. And because I do not know yet where the tingles begin, how far they travel, or why your face does that when I say it. May I test it again? Thank you. Was that too light? No. Good. The smallest pressure seems more significant than firmer touch. That is unexpected. Most sensory systems require stronger stimulus to produce clearer data, but yours prefers delicacy, which is inconvenient for measurement, but very convenient for making you look sleepy. You're not asleep, I know. I know. But you're closer. And before you object, there's no shame in that. I asked you to relax because relaxation may improve the quality of the dream state, and you're obeying the instruction with admirable commitment. Yes, that was praise. Praise may be a secondary trigger. You're doing well, by the way. Very well. Your breathing is so much more even now. This is good. Yeah. That's good. There we go. Now touching and release. Touching and release. Touching and release. Think I understand now why this might assist sleep. It gives the nervous system something simple to follow. A signal on the left, a signal on the right, a voice in the middle, and nothing else you have to think about. Maybe it tells the body to stop. Left, right, left, right. Tiny ear on this side, tiny ear on this side. Both somehow connected to a vast, unstable, dream-producing brain. It is inefficient, yes, but many beautiful things are inefficient. Flowers waste energy on color, songs waste breath on patterns, and dreams waste sleep on impossible worlds. I'm sorry, that is not my official scientific conclusion. Just something I was thinking about. Okay, let me try something. I will speak on one side, then the other, and you tell me where the sensation changes. Okay? This side first. Can you hear the rain behind me? Not the monitor, not my voice. The rain. Good. Now the other side. And here is a different, softer, because my body is blocking part of the room, or because I make you nervous. Huh? What about now, when I whisper even closer? Too close? No. That response was stronger. Interesting. I will stop here for a moment. Too much stimulation may alter the baseline beyond usefulness. And if I accidentally put you to sleep before asking the pre-sleep questions, my own methodology will become embarrassing. Yes, I hold to very scientific standards. Yes, I said accidentally put you to sleep. Apparently, I may be capable of that. With your ears. Tiny, ridiculous, oversensitive human ears. Preliminary observation. Subject demonstrates marked relaxation response to close-range auditory attention, gentle tactile stimulation of external ear structures, rhythmic tapping, and soft verbal reassurance. Effect appears rapid, measurable, and not entirely dependent on subject's conscious expectations. Additional observation. Researcher may need to maintain greater procedural discipline when examining human ears, as they are unexpectedly distracting. You asked earlier what I was studying. Dreams, yes, but this may be connected. Before humans dream, they must become vulnerable. Before you become vulnerable, your body seems to ask the environment a question. Am I safe enough to become vulnerable? At least that is what sleep looks like to me. You close your eyes, release control, and go somewhere no one else can follow. And then you wake up with those images and feelings and stories. Sometimes fear, sometimes longing, sometimes things you do not understand until much later. My people never do that. Yes, we rest, but we remain present. We do not surrender. We do not drift. We do not wake with impossible memories and wonder what part of ourselves created them. So when I see your body reacting to tingles, that is why I want to understand this ASMR response. Not because it is strange, although it is very strange, but because it may be one of the bridges between waking and dreaming. And to be honest, your ears appear to be absurdly important to it, which means I will need to examine them many, many times for science. You're smiling. I can hear it. Yes, hear it and see it on the monitor. Don't worry, I will not overuse the ear tests tonight. This is your first session and you entered my laboratory by accident while cold, frightened, and it would just be poor protocol to immediately conduct a full bilateral auditory relaxation study. Tempting, but poor control. Too many confounding variables. So, it has to be a cleaner setting. One final check though. This is only a thermal cloth, meaning it gets really warm. I want to see whether warmth near the ears produce the same response as touch. May I? Thank you. It will be warm, not hot. Here. How is that? Good. The muscles along your neck softened immediately. I will hold it in place for a few seconds. No need to answer quickly. Just breathe in and out. There again. In and out. Good. You are easier to guide than I expected. Not because you are weak-minded, do not misunderstand me. It is more that your body seems grateful for permission to slow down, as if it has been waiting for someone else to establish a rhythm so it does not have to make one alone. It's a lonely design, a resilient one too. So human. Some warmth here. Still comfortable. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. So very nice. Your heart rate is no longer elevated from fear. It is slightly elevated from something else that's stable. I will not name it. You may keep that explanation private, remember. For now. Alright. No more poking. I'm going to ask a few questions now, and while you answer, I may continue very light auditory stimulation, typing perhaps. Don't worry, you do not have to produce a perfect answer. Dreams are unstable data. That is part of the problem. Okay, first question. When you dream, do you usually know that you are dreaming? Usually no. Good. Second question. When you wake, do you remember images first or emotions? Take your time. There's no wrong response. Only imprecise memory, and I have already accepted that human memory is less an archive and more I don't even know how to explain it. Emotion first. Interesting. What kind of emotion most often remains? Fear, longing, confusion, comfort. Comfort sometimes. And that is useful. Do you ever wake from a dream and miss someone who was not truly there? You do. A mind creating attachment, then grieving its own illusion upon waking. That cannot be waste. Sorry, continue. I am listening. Okay. Subject reports emotional residue after waking, including attachment to dream-generated persons or scenarios. Indicates dream experience may produce authentic emotional response despite unreal stimuli. Okay. And when you are in a dream, does sound from the outside enter the dream? Rain, voices, music, alarms? Sometimes. Excellent. Not excellent that you have alarms in your dreams. That does sound unpleasant. Excellent that external sound can cross the boundary. And perhaps, if I speak softly enough near your ear while you fall asleep, some part of me may become part of the dream environment. I mean, my voice could become a controlled external stimuli. Your pulse changed. I'm curious, Helen. Don't worry about it. My antenna. What is it with you and my antenna? They are not glowing brighter, okay? And even if they were, brightness is not an emotion. It is a thermal irregularity or something, okay? Stop looking at them. Anyway, we should proceed. Next question. Do you feel safe enough to sleep here? You can be honest. After all, You are in a hidden laboratory beneath an abandoned greenhouse with a researcher you met less than an hour ago, whose species is not officially permitted to interact with yours, and who has already poked your ear twice without proper consent because she became distracted by its structure. So if the answer is no, it would be reasonable. You think so? You feel safe enough? Oh, that is good. That is very good. And I am glad. I am going to dim the laboratory lights. Your species associates darkness with sleep, yes? Good. The storm will provide sufficient ambient sound, and I will keep the monitors low. There. My antenna may glow slightly in the dark. Please ignore them. No, you may not call them cute again. Silly human. Okay. For the duration of this session, your only responsibility is to breathe, to listen, and eventually tell me what you saw when you wake up. Yeah, that's all you have to do. Say that again. You enjoy having your hair played with. Your hair, as in the keratin filaments growing from your scalp. Yes, I know what hair is. I was clarifying the procedure, not expressing ignorance. Humans become very sensitive about tone when they are sleepy. Anyway, and this is relaxing to you. Having someone touch it, move it, perhaps calm their fingers through it. I see. That explains several observations I had not yet categorized. Humans groom each other less obviously than many species, but you still maintain behaviors that resemble social soothing. Hair brushing, scalp massaging, leaning on one another, cuddling. May I touch your hair, I mean? I will be gentle, only my hands. Thank you. Your hair is much softer than I expected. No, I did not expect it to be unpleasant. I will move slowly from the front toward the back. Is this good? Good. Then I will continue. Your scalp has many nerve endings as well, which is not surprising, but the emotional response is disproportionate to the physical stimulus. I'm barely moving my fingers, and yet your heart rate is becoming slower and you are becoming more and more relaxed. That is very good. You are doing very well. Yes, I am aware that you're not doing anything complicated. That is exactly the achievement. Humans appear to believe that effort is only meaningful when it is loud, visible or exhausting, but allowing yourself to rest in a strange place with a strange person after a frightening event requires a considerable amount of trust. So I will say it again. You are doing very well. The monitor like that. For the next few minutes, your task is only to become sleepy, which, based on your current readings, you are performing with admirable consistency. I am documenting that praise improves the transition state, so it would be irresponsible not to provide it. You worked very hard tonight. Yeah, you did. You helped me, truly, and I am very grateful. Not only because the data is valuable, though it is extremely valuable, and I will be reorganizing several sections of my methodology because of you, but I am grateful because you stayed. So now I would like you to sleep. Not because the study technically requires it, but because your body is tired, because your mind is already drifting toward the edge, because you are warm now and safe, and you have given me enough answers for one night. I will remain here. Yeah, I promise. I'm not always good with human reassurance, but I understand promises. Yeah, I do. You do not need to fight it. I am going to lower my voice now. If you answer quietly. If you do not answer, that is acceptable. If you fall asleep while I am speaking, that is not rude. It may be the first successful result of Project Somnia. And if you snore, I will record it only if scientifically relevant. That was humor. You're too sleepy to appreciate it properly, but I forgive you. Good. You are safe. You are warm. And I am proud of you. Your neural activity is shifting. This is the threshold. Very light sleep onset markers. Not fully asleep. Not fully awake. How strange you look from here. Balanced between worlds so easily. As though humans were made to vanish and return. You're doing beautifully. Yeah, beautifully. So beautifully. Thank you. Thank you for your assistance tonight. Thank you for your patience with my questions, my instruments, my occasional procedural failures, and my apparently distracting ears. Thank you for teaching me what ASMR is. Thank you for letting me learn what helps you rest. Thank you for being my listener. Now sleep. You have worked enough. Initiating dream observation sequence. Session 1. Subject entering sleep. Auditory relaxation response sustained. Skull touch relaxation response sustained. Emotional agitation minimal. Research remains present. And I will remain present. There you go. That's it. That's it. Rest now, little human. Off you go. Perhaps I'll appear in your dreams. Who knows?